fireable offense to me wasn't necessarily drafting Caleb Williams because, you know, GMs make those mistakes all the time and can come back from them, see San Francisco. But I will say this, not even scouting and interviewing Jaden Daniels, that is a problem.
So here's where you're wrong. There's nobody that knows what they're looking at that can evaluate Jaden Daniels' last 2 years of college and Caleb Williams' last 2 years of college and come away from that thinking that this prospect has a higher ceiling than this one.
Oh.
And I said that to say this. Jaden is box office. He was going to be box office no matter where he was drafted. But Caleb is talented. And I'm going to get into why I am actually buying Caleb Williams stock for 2025 moving forward.
We always buy low, though.
Did you hear that, everybody? Did you hear that, everyone, in Shaun King's DMs? I feel like we have to subtitle it and put like graphics on everything. He said this for a reason.
I did, and here's why. I said Caleb was delusional coming out of USC. He had a big brand. He was a part of the initial NIL wave in college football. Him and his dad had convinced themselves that they were something unique to the National Football League. You saw it showcase itself this past draft with Shedeur Sanders. The NFL is the greatest thing attached to professional sports in the world. There are only 32 of these companies in the world. They have no competition. They have a full monopoly on everything. No matter how big of a brand you are in college, you're an employee when you get to the National Football League. And Caleb and his dad had to be humbled, and they were because they failed. They tried to not go to the Bears. They ended up at the Bears. But Caleb is talented. And the reason I'm buying stock is because of Ben Johnson. He would never have succeeded under the previous regime. But Ben Johnson is a guy that comes in with enough cachet after what they accomplished in Detroit offensively to actually hold Caleb's feet to the fire. And what I saw in the preseason game was somebody's finally making him be accountable fundamentally. He threw the ball in rhythm. He threw the ball on time. He's always had the arm talent. He's always had the athleticism. But he's always gotten away with being talented, not being precise. And so you can see Ben Johnson's impact and effect already on Caleb, and I know that's going to manifest itself to him being a much better player, and it's going to enhance his opportunity to have a long career in this league.
Shaun, I love that you're saying this, and especially on the back of what you have said previously about Caleb not being able to make the basic plays, the fundamental plays. Seeing Caleb in practice in training camp this year, my own two eyes, I was like, is there a reason why the only time Caleb seems to quote-unquote shine is in the 2-minute drill portion of this practice when there is freelancing involved? There is having to kind of make your special way. But on the very basic, like, you're just supposed to hit this guy 2 seconds into, you know, dropping back. He's not doing it. I was like, Ben Johnson's trying to figure out what he can and cannot handle and making sure he can do the very basic stuff before we worry about any of that other stuff that made him so quote-unquote talented. And you're saying you're seeing in what we saw last week in the preseason game that the fundamentals have been handled.
Absolutely. And he's been held accountable. Man, here's what's interesting. I view Ben Johnson in the same space that I view Sean Payton, I view Andy Reid, and I'm talking about the quarterback development part. These guys aren't just play callers. They aren't just brilliant offensive minds. I think Ben's in that group of guys that can also teach a quarterback that brilliance. There are a lot of coordinators in the National Football League who can go to a clinic and get on the board and X's and O with the best of them. But a lot of those guys don't know how to give that information to a quarterback in a way that it's simple. They can take it, make it practical on game day, and then if something's not right, explain to them how to fix it. And I think that's where Ben Johnson is elite, based on what I saw him do with Jared Goff and those guys in Detroit and what I've seen already in a small sample size with his impact on Caleb Williams.
Shaun, as a former quarterback, who do you feel like helped you with that, or how do you feel like you got that for yourself?
Rich Rodriguez. Yeah.
My guy, Rich.
Yeah, Rich Rodriguez.
I covered him at West Virginia.
Shout out to Rich in the big city, Morgantown, West Virginia. Nobody thinks that. Nobody believes that. But I like to take shots at them every time I can.
I get it. I've been to Morgantown way too many times not to get what you just said.
But, I mean, he was considered like one of the original like embracers and architects of spread offense, which I feel like is still kind of the basis for what we're doing
And
here.
I got him out of Glenville State. When he came to Tulane, Tommy Bowden was the head coach. He came from being the head coach at Glenville State. And I had already had really good fundamentals. There was Coach Johnny, was a guy in high school that made me, really dive into that part of playing quarterback. It was all about the process. It wasn't the result. It was the process. It didn't matter if I completed the ball. It was the ball location proper. It didn't matter if the player was successful. It was the decision right? And so I grew up in that space. Caleb has grown up just being the best, the most talented. I don't have to worry really about processing it. I just run around. I'm faster than everybody.
Arm talent.
I got short area quickness. I can make all throws. And getting into this system with Ben, he's going to, first of all, start believing because he's going to see the results. And I think the Bears going to get the best version of him. So Ryan Poles, as disgusted as I was with you last year for drafting Jaden Daniels, I think he hit the hammer right in the sweet spot of the nail with the Ben Johnson hire.
What else can you tell us about what you think Ben Johnson will do for Caleb Williams in that respect?
Well, for context, during the break, I showed Marshall and Layla a futures bet I made on the Bears to win the NFC North. And I view Ben Johnson in such a high regard because there are a lot of guys that can design offense, that can call plays. There are very few guys that can fit personnel to said play calling. And what he did an amazing job in Detroit was he made David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs effective. He had Sam Laporta and Armand St. Rob Brown effective. He brought Jamison Williams and got him into areas to do. And so that's why when I look at his Bears skill set on offense, I mean, they've got pieces. Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet, DJ Moore and
Roma Dunze
and Luther Burden, who they drafted. Who's the young kid, number 10, that's been balling in the preseason?
Olamide Zaccheaus, too.
Zaccheaus from Washington. He caught the first touchdown, but the kid that played, he made a bunch of good plays in the last game. Light-skinned,
Tyler Scott,
tall.
was it?
Yeah, Tyler Scott. Yeah, he's
right.
number 10.
Yeah.
Sorry, we wanted to see more out of him because of his speed, but we hadn't in previous years.
Yeah, we've been wanting to see more out of him, and this wasn't the first year we've been.
But now that Ben's there, Ben knows how to take those skill sets and put them in places to be productive and successful. And you've seen the defense coming over the last couple of years. They're young, they're fast, they run to the ball, they're physical. Offensive line is getting better now. When people always tell me we don't have a good offensive line, who in the hell in the NFL has a good O-line?
The Eagles.
The Eagles, yeah.
And they really, that's left for, like they tush-push all short yardage. I mean, my point is the defensive linemen in the National Football League are so big, fast, strong, and athletic. There's nobody that really has an offensive line that can just completely dominate the fronts they're going to see. So once you get to that slightly above average point, which I think Chicago's teetering on, then you can win a lot of football. So I'm all in on the Bears. I hope I don't get pie on my face, but I wanted to explain my position and why I have that position for this year. It's based on structurally sound information, people. It's not based on hope, which was last year's positivity around the team.
Well, that's the difference between your bet and a lot of other bets.
Luke Getsy was the OC. Caleb Williams coming in. Like, he was never listening to Luke Getsy.
Well, and Shane Waldron,
Right, yeah. So, I mean, this is a better situation.
Well, I guess my question to you is, because you put that futures bet down, now I'm wondering how you're seeing the rest of the division and whether a team like Detroit, which lost both its coordinators, takes a step back. And J.J. McCarthy, maybe you don't have the belief in him. And then what about the Packers? How do you see the rest of the division in that you're able to not just say the Bears are going to be better, but elevate them to the top of the division?
Great question, Marshall. And here's what I think. Detroit takes a step back simply because the head guy isn't an X's and O's guy. He's a culture builder.
CEO type.
So he loses both X's and O guys from offense and defense, and a special one in Ben Johnson, who knew how to make all those pieces work effectively. Green Bay, something's wrong with Jordan Love. And until I see some signs of him fixing what's wrong, he's skittish in the pocket. When it gets chaotic, he crumbles. He's afraid to push the ball down the field. Until I see that change, I'm off of Green Bay.
Well, also he hops on his back foot a lot too.
Yeah, that's from watching Rodgers. See, that's why I don't like a young quarterback around a accomplished veteran quarterback that has bad fundamentals. Remember, association means assimilation. You watch it every day, practice, game. Guess what? Every backup in the league that's behind a prominent starter, when he gets in the game, look at his mannerisms. They all mimic the guy that they see all the time.
Unless they're like a Joe Flacco, super established veteran,
Yes.
been doing this for a decade.
Absolutely. And Minnesota, I actually was J.J. McCartney's OC at IMG. Excellent kid. He's a football junkie. I don't think he's the problem with Minnesota. I'm not sure how good Minnesota is defensively.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to find out real
Right.
quick.
We are.
Week 1,
We are.
Monday Night
They
Football.
they still have. I feel like they still have the talent, and they have Flores. So he's going to figure out how to use that talent to the best of his ability.
Last time I saw Minnesota in a big game, they were getting blitzkrieged.
Fair. That's
They
a fair criticism.
But how much is
observation.
that? How
And
much
so
is
all
that
I-
on them though when it comes to just having different personnel than they should have had that season?
Maybe, but again, the context for my opinions on the rest of the division was why I thought plus 525 on the Bears had value. I don't see a juggernaut in the other 3 teams. And if the Bears take another step, remember they weren't successful record-wise last year, but they were competitive. Now I think Ben takes that talent and elevates it because of his attention to detail. And I like them to win some of these close games and Caleb to take the next step. I don't know. Is Caleb eligible for comeback player of the year?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I
Do
think
you have to come off an injury? Or
No.
Yeah.
It's in fact, they want it to be more performance based, like just your numbers versus last year's numbers. Shaun King here with us in person, Circa Resort and Casino. We're not inside like we were yesterday. We are at Stadium Swim, my first trip here. I know Sean's been here before. Layla's been here before. Want to remind you, football talk on the score presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's got the Bears winning the division per a futures bet. And so you brought him up. So I got to go back to what I was talking about last segment before you were on. Aaron Rodgers, Pittsburgh Steelers. What are the Steelers' ceiling, in your opinion, with now Aaron Rodgers, a competent quarterback back there for the first time in a long time?
This was one of the few places Rodgers could go and not get the head coach fired. That's what I think of Aaron Rodgers in 2025.
Okay. So what do you think the Steelers' ceiling is as a performance this
This
year?
will be the first year in Tomlin's career they finished below 500.
Wow.
you heard it.